In the status quo, many countries are fighting an intense war. We want a world of peace through a single government. I'll first define what a unified government looks like. One unified government would have everyone's country and make laws together in peace and union. Proud to propose. Our first argument why we want a world that has a single government is because of unity. Unity can create less conflict, therefore bringing peace. This is because if countries are tied to each other, there would be a positive result in terms of unity. Unity is also unity is so important because it can save conflict by thinking of solutions together. It might even remove country borders to become fully developed. Unity can be helpful if countries can bond, even rival countries like South Korea and North Korea, and the United States and Iran. Furthermore, the government can make rational rules for a country as a whole to unite all of the countries and make a good world. For example, if there is a disease in a country, not only neighboring cities are helping, even far away countries can help cure the disease. This is why there should be a single government over all countries. There are three main impacts. First, governments can form a bondage with others, which ultimately reaches the goal of peace through one government. For example, a government could bond with another government and be a friend, have friendship between them. This is very important for our goal of peace, since the friendship can make make them rely on each other. Second, countries can feel safe because of the unison, which brings peace. Uh, if if countries are united together, they would be more secured and in peace. And lastly, countries can create rules that ask for everyone's opinion to achieve peace. This is important because when a government doesn't ask for a country's opinions, then that will be a very biased government and wouldn't be fair, which is not a good way to achieve peace. Our second argument why we want a world that has a single government is because of recognition. Through recognition, minor developing countries can be recognized and included to be a part of a whole, which they never felt before. They can also ask help and form bondage so that they can be recognized through a unified government, rather than be hated, be hated like the past. And other countries can help develop infrastructure advancements such as building better roads, better schools, which can help students in the country for better education. Other countries could value the minor developing countries' opinions and culture. This can lead to peace between all the countries, our main goal, by including minor countries. This is why a unified government is so important. Three main impacts here. First, developing countries can be recognized through friendship and bondage. Second, there can be many other countries supporting infrastructural change and advancement of the minor countries like roads, apartments, and schools. And lastly, minor countries can feel safe and included for the first time, boosting their confidence by a lot and having more success than the past. Therefore, Judge, our side wants a peaceful and unified government through one single government. Never been proud to propose. Thank you.
So, imagine living in a world where every country share the same government and the same law. Imagine dictatorship happening in this world. Is this the best case scenario? So, I'm going to present rebuttals and then I'm going to present two arguments. So, first of all, I would like to rebut the previous speaker. The previous speaker had raised 4 points. So, the first point the previous speaker had raised was peace, that if you integrate the government, that there would be peace. However, there would be conflict inside the country, since there are a lot of people. If you integrate all the government and rule every people in this whole world, then there will be so many people you'd have to satisfy. And secondly, the previous speaker gave a point that you could make solutions together. However, just one government can't discuss with everyone, even regarding one representative each country or land have. Like, there are actually more than 200 countries, so that is why it is really hard, even though one person from each country or each land can come here and discuss. And the third point the previous speaker made was bondage. That if you integrate countries, different governments would form bondage, and they would rely on each other. However, separate countries can also lead to positive relationships, such as USA and Korea. So we are helping relationships, and we have a separate government. And the fourth point the previous speaker made was that small countries would be recognized. However, they can't represent a law, and they're not even a little bit of their opinion would go into the rules. So this would be bad for the small countries as well as separate governments. Now I will move on to my arguments. My first argument is that a government needs to respect every culture. All countries' cultures are different, and their beliefs and doings are different also. If there are only one government, then it would be hard to represent everyone. For example, USA. Gun is legal in USA, and they can use it whenever they want. And in South Korea, guns are illegal, and they can't use it even though they want to use it. And to respect each of them, then do what? Governments can't accomplish everyone's will in just one integrated law, so this would not respect both of them. And it would be challenging and nearly impossible to accomplish this thing. And for example, European nation, France and Germany is rich and Hungary is poor. And rich countries usually decide and represent the law and how they want to rule. So it isn't democratic for
Yo,
poor countries such as Hungary. No, thank you. And my second argument is that we can't fix dictatorship. If there is one person and that one person is a dictator, then it's usually or always other people, other countries tell this severity on SNS or social media, and they would like tell the awareness of this severity. So this helps the country where one person is a dictator. However, if there is only one country or an integrated and an added government, then this isn't allowed because you'll get punished. For example, if you say something to a king that the king doesn't like, such as the king just the king don't use so much money and you have to help us like people, then you would get killed, or like you would get punished severely. And dictatorship is usually negative, and other countries can't really help because there are no other governments. Thank you.
Judge, Judge, imagine a world that is broken and disconnected. Imagine a world that has little global recognition to small countries, and that is divided through wars and conflicts that affect so many people around the globe. We cannot look at this world and see it as just. But panel, in our world, we have already fixed that issue. But first, rebuttals. The opposite bench said that you can't satisfy every single person in every single country, but we never even applied that. We said that we're going to achieve world peace through government. Not every single country has to be satisfied, and even if they are satisfied, what are they even going to do? That isn't going to achieve any world peace or any like goals like that. And now moving on to my second rebuttal, the opposite bench gave an example of the U.S. for having a law that they can have guns, but South Korea does not have guns. But this is only a specific example, and it's not relevant to the debate. As in most countries around the globe, we mostly have very similar laws, such as caring for the well-being of the people, having to pay taxes, and other military-related laws, so on and so forth, XYZ. And now my third and last final rebuttal. They also said that like countries such as like Germany are rich, but like Hungary are poor. But this is also not relevant to the debate, as it is also another very specific example. And we also agree that like there are countries that are poor and rich, but we will aim to solve that issue in our world, and in their world, in the opposite bench's world, they cannot solve this issue. Now moving on to our third and last argument: a unified global government can save millions, if not billions of lives. Premise: the world is broken and divided due to wars and conflicts. We can solve this issue through a unified and global government. How? Through an allied government, we can achieve major goals such as world peace, as mentioned in our first speaker. And the opposition in the opposition world, we can clearly see that it is a world full of hatred and ruptured countries when there is no actual global reach to the minorities or the minor countries. Furthermore, as mentioned in our second argument, the world is more interwoven and connected through this government. This is through this unifying global government in our world, which shows extreme contrast between our world and the opposite bench's world. This can save millions or billions of lives in the due process. Like imagine where you're in a position where you're a refugee and you're not safe because like the other countries don't recognize you and like your country's like in danger, but like through in our world we could protect you and we could take care of you because we recognize you and we recognize that problem and we see it as big, and because we can recognize this we are the better side here. And in our best case scenario, everyone's unified and we can recognize everyone lead. But in the opposite best case possible, everyone is unified, but it is still divided. Why? Because there is no single government, both physically and mentally and relationally, bringing all the countries together. Rival countries would still be in order, and there will be still wars ongoing. This is absolutely inevitable, Judge. As you can see on our side, it's clearly winning choice. So what did I say in this debate? I said that there's a unified global government, and on our side, it's better because like they don't have that, and like they can't like achieve like world peace because they're not physically and mentally and relationally together. And um, and we also said that they cannot solve like any of those issues because like they don't have a government like that, and that is why we take this debate home, and I'm more than proud to propose. Thank you.
Today, I'll do some rebuttals and a reason why this House does not prefer a world where there's only one government. So I'll start with my rebuttals. So the Prime Minister said that they prefer a world where there's only one single global government because they think it would be safer, but it's definitely leading to many effects like can't getting away from a dictator. There will be more wars because there won't be much unification of opinions. The Deputy Prime Minister said that a unified government can save millions of people, but it actually harms them. Like I said, people will lobby to the government because they give too many reasons. And then if there's too many reasons, the government can't listen to them. And if too many people go to the government to lobby to them, many people get hurt by their emotions and also in their body. Moving on to our side's third argument. This House does not prefer a world where there's one single global government because it's hard to control all the countries. So it's the same situation like this. It's like trying to control 100 crying babies. Even Korea has lots of complaints, and it's hard for only one government to control all of it globally. When countries keep putting complaints, laws can't be passed, and complaints are not heard. It's just too much for that one single government and that one single person. When countries keep putting complaints, laws can be passed, like I said. It's too much for them to take care of more than 100 countries. The countries all have diverse opinions, and if none of them are listened, people will come to lobby to the government, like in my rebuttal. And if that's on, it won't be peaceful. In other words, war, right? But this war is not only between countries because there's only one country. It will happen inside the one country, and that will have more harm. So in conclusion to this example, if there's only one government, the people will come lobbying because the government does not listen to any opinions because it's too much for them, and that can lead to peacefulness. In this process, many people can get hurt. This can lead to chaos in the world. Because there's only one government, all the countries can collapse. Do you want our world to end in collapse, Judge? Making a government only one occurs a serious problem. When it's hard to control all the countries and different opinions. This is important because one of the reasons, like our first speaker said, we can't get rid of dictatorship. But now the government side is saying that they prefer a world that is chaotic and dangerous, rather than a peaceful, regular world. We need to have separate governments to make this not happen. Therefore, opposition is proud to oppose. Today, I'll do some rebuttals and a reason why this House does not prefer a world where there's only one government. So I'll start with my rebuttals. So the Prime Minister said that they prefer a world where there's only one single global government because they think it would be safer, but it's definitely lead to many effects like can't getting away from a dictator. There will be more wars because there won't be much unification of opinions. The deputy prime minister said that a unified government can save millions of people, but it actually harms them. Like I said, people will lobby to the government because they give too many reasons. And then if there's too many reasons, the government can't listen to them. And if too many people go to the government to lobby to them, many people get hurt by their emotions and also in their body. Moving on to our side-third argument. This house does not prefer a world where there's one single global government because it's hard to control all the countries. So it's the same situation like this. It's like trying to control 100 crying babies. Even Korea has lots of complaints, and it's hard for only one government to control all of it globally. When countries keep putting complaints, laws can't be passed, and complaints are not heard. It's just too much for that one single government and that one single person. When countries keep
So before moving on to the clashes, the main clashes of today's debate about now I'd like to start off with the rebuttals. So our first rebuttal is that the deputy leader of opposition said that it is hard for one government to support a whole country, as for example there'll be so much job for just one person to support a whole world where there are many countries, and it will be hard for them. However, this is not true, as it is actually optional for people to apply for the role of being a president and co-president, and it is a volunteer option, which shows that this argument does not stand. Now I'd like to move on to the main clashes of today's debate. So the first clash of today's debate is going to be unity vs conflict. Judge, in the opposition bench, they provide conflict for the society and the whole earth, while in our side we're actually providing unity for the whole world. If one government rules the whole world, countries will be all consolidated together, which leads to less disputes and less wars. For example, less violence, which leads others and less wars throughout the world. Panel in the opposition side, conflicts and disputes will happen extremely often with proof in the status quo. For example, Russia and Ukraine are having an ongoing war that's actually lasting for a long time right now, and other wars like USA and Iran are also having a war right now in the status quo. Now moving back to our side, Judge, a way to solve these international conflicts and issues and disputes is by having a government to rule all the countries at once. A premise. This is because we will provide global standardization, which can only be achieved by unification of laws, people, cultures, and way more. Now, the second main clash of today's debate is going to be recognition versus ignorance. Judge, in our rule, we clearly give recognition to these smaller countries, as the DLO also stated, as we will diligently verify and respect many different cultures, histories, and countries under one all-embracing global framework that this one government will provide. Panel in the judge also panel in the opposition side, they're only going to provide ignorance towards these minor countries as minor countries. National governments tend to rely on, for example, national governments are tending to rely on their own autonomy and their own country, which makes cooperation for these global disputes and issues often fall off and usually stall off. To extrapolate, as our leader of proposition briefly said, minor countries will also be able to, for example, minor countries that are willing to gain willing to gain popularity by other countries. They will be able to achieve this throughout one government ruling the whole world because of all embracing global framework, which I explained as well. So in conclusion, which is why I'm never proud to propose.
Today in my speech, I will present 2 rebuttals and 3 clashes. Before I move on to my clashes, I will start with my rebuttals. The previous speaker said that by combining the government, there will be unity for the whole world. But this is not true, because the government would fight inside the one country or the government because they disagree with the when they are making the laws or making the rules for the countries, there are so many people in this world. That means that so many people have different ideas, so all of them will disagree and just keep on fighting, like just same as before they combined the government, and even more because they will fight inside that government. The previous speaker also said that opposition ignores the minor countries. However, even though the world combines the government, minor countries still gets not listened because rich and big countries could do everything instead of talking to minor countries. Now I will move on to my clashes. The first clashes is that which side can make a better, fair decision. The other side may say that by talking with many people and combining ideas, they can democratically make the decision. However, this is not true because if there are many people or many ideas, this means that they will just fight over to make the laws that they want, like I said in my rebuttal. And like I said in my rebuttals, they will not peacefully decide this. They will fight, maybe a big serious fight, such as a war. Our side says that if there are only one government, only big and famous and rich countries will do everything. This means that this is not fair for the minor countries. This means that the countries with big influence will just control everything in the way that. What is it?
So basically, you're saying. So basically, you're saying that if one person is going to rule the whole country, then minor countries will like gain less. Like minor countries will get excluded. However, will minor countries actually get won't countries actually get more attention as I said in my script. Will minor countries get more as because of all embracing global framework?
But like the previous speaker of my team said, there is an example called EU where only rich countries like France and Germany does everything, and also the they usually when they decide the law they vote, and the countries will many people will just vote on their country's laws. So this means that the countries with minor people will not get hurt. Now I will move on to my second clashes. The second clash is about which side can control the world better. The other side may say that many countries or people are cooperating so they can solve the problems more efficiently. However, like the second speaker of our side said, they will only fight and delay to make the decision, and also they could lobby. So many people's complaints are not heard because there are so many people, so it takes a long time to vote on the laws because the laws should be unanimous before passing, so it is very hard to make a decision and very, very inefficient. The previous speaker said that the second speaker of our side said that the people could lobby when their complaints are not heard, and when they combine the government, it take a long time to pass the law, which means that there will be many complaints from the people. For example, like I said in my first clash, the minor countries should talk to the bigger countries before they are actually making the law, which means that it takes longer. Now I will move on to my third clash, which is about which side can respect the cultures more better. The other side say that by combining good laws and cultures and eliminating the bad laws, the good world will be made. However, but when our side says that when they are combining the government, cultures of countries that are poor or have less people will get ignored. For example, when the world is combining the government and our countries cultures and laws are not respected. This is very terrible for the people whose cultures and the rights and laws were just that they were following for the whole life are just destroyed. The countries can't combine their ideas or laws in a good way, and they will just ignore cultures of other countries. To conclude, by not combining the government, the individual governments can make fair decisions, control the world better, and respect the cultures. I'm proud to oppose. Thank you.
Our team, or the opposition side, clearly got the win because of the solidity and the clearness, logicality of the arguments. I'll share our arguments first. Our side pushes the positivity of separated governments because of respecting cultures, better controlling and solving dictatorship. These points are really important for world peace. On the other hand, the government side raised points that small countries get recognized, governments can create bondage, and that a unified government would save a lot of people. Firstly, small governments get treated Small countries get treated badly laws. Secondly, separate governments can also help, though they don't get unified. Lastly, integrated government doesn't necessarily mean saving people. Moreover, other countries can help us too. So, because our arguments had a better, clear idea, I'm proud to oppose. Thank you. Our team, or the opposition side, clearly got the win because of the solidity and the clearness, logicality of the arguments. I'll share our arguments first. Our side pushes the positivity of separated governments because of respecting cultures, better controlling and solving dictatorship. These points are really important for world peace. On the other hand, the government side raised points that small countries get recognized, governments can create bondage, and that a unified government would save a lot of people. Firstly, small governments get treated Small countries get treated badly laws. Secondly, separate governments can also help, though they don't get unified. Lastly, integrated government doesn't necessarily mean saving people. Moreover, other countries can help us too. So, because our arguments had a better, clear idea, I'm proud to oppose. Thank you. Our team, or the opposition side, clearly got the win because of the solidity and the clearness, logicality of the arguments. I'll share our arguments first. Our side pushes the positivity of separated governments because of respecting cultures, better controlling and solving dictatorship. These points are really important for world peace. On the other hand, the government side raised points that small countries get recognized, governments can create bondage, and that a unified government would save a lot of people. Firstly, small governments get treated Small countries get treated badly laws. Secondly, separate governments can also help, though they don't get unified. Lastly, integrated government doesn't necessarily mean saving people. Moreover, other countries can help us too. So, because our arguments had a better, clear idea, I'm proud to oppose. Thank you. Our team, or the opposition side, clearly got the win because of the solidity and the clearness, logicality of the arguments. I'll share our arguments first. Our side pushes the positivity of separated governments because of
Judge, I will first have to start with the engagement in this debate. On our side, we had attempted 4 POIs minimum, while the other side had none and rejected 2 of our POIs. To us, this is absolutely ridiculous. We also responded to every single point and argument that the opposite bench said with clarity and lucidity, while the opposite bench did not even respond to our second argument, Judge. So, panel, this debate comes down to one major clash: unity versus conflict. The opposite side said a big government will cause conflict and that they ignore the minor problems when significant and rich countries will take power. We said the actual truth. We said that the small countries would actually get recognized and we will all be united. But like what we said, we win this clash because we we win this clash because like we actually provided like clear evidence while the opposite bench says mistakenly lyingly
I will stop laughing, bro.
that they will win the clash. Now moving on to our world comparison. If you want to choose a world where disputes and wars are going to happen oftenly, and where the world that is absolutely broken and divided, choose side opposition. However, if you want to choose a world where minor countries gain the popularity and they deserve and how they deserve a world and how we're going to solve the issues with them, and there will be like less wars and there will be like more solutions and everyone connected to a side proposition. Now I'm more than proud to close and thank you.